Summer camp season. We have been in planning for it since before the beginning of the year. As a matter of fact, the planning for this year's summer camp began at last year's summer camp. That is how long the planning goes into this. And summer camp is something where we spend a whole lot more time in the summer on these particular 6 weeks than we do in most other weeks during the year. It's a short amount of time to consider compared to the rest of the year, but it's a long amount of time when you're actually living in it. And so we're going to look at the story of Jericho, Joshua and Jericho. And we're going to look at that in the frame of what we're looking at in experiencing God. The last step in experiencing God is that you will experience God as you obey Him. As you obey Him. And the story of Jericho is that perfect story of what is expected of us. It's the perfect story, and it's the perfect place for us where it ends today. It's the perfect place where it ends for us. Because although we are done with the camp season, the work of Jesus Christ is only beginning in the lives of all the children, all the volunteers that have been here this summer. We had over 100 campers this summer, and we probably had almost 200 volunteers that helped out with camp, because we had different ones each day. And we also had, coming into the building and learning just a little bit, over 1,000 coming to the concerts throughout the course of the summer. That's a lot of lives to be affected. And that's a lot of lives that are affected in this way, one day at a time. One day at a time. Just as it was with the people of Israel in Jericho, it was one day at a time. One command at a time. One act of obedience at a time. See, one way that we know that God is speaking is that He gives specific instructions. And in Joshua chapter 6, God gives specific instructions to Joshua. Verse 2 says, "See, I have delivered Jericho into your hands, along with its king and its fighting men. March around the city once with all the armed men. Do this for 6 days. Have 7 priests carry trumpets of ram's horns in front of the ark. On the 7th day, march around the city 7 times with the priests blowing the trumpets. When you hear the sound of long blasts and the trumpets, have all the people give a loud shout. Then the wall of the city will collapse, and the people will go up, every man straight in." God gives specific instructions to Joshua. Joshua has that message to pass on to the people. And that message includes the message of prophecy. The message of prophecy, this is what is going to happen. Not simply, this is what you're going to do and wait to see what happens. But God tells Joshua specifically what is going to happen. The wall is going to collapse. And then you are going to run in a straight line. And it's all done in 7s for a specific reason. 7 days, 7 ram's horns, 7 times. That's God's perfect and complete number. God gave His perfect plan to Joshua. Do this in this way so that the people of Jericho may hear the horns blaring. They won't hear war shouts. They won't be intimidated by that. They will hear the ram's horns. The ram's horns were not a horn of battle. They were a horn of worship. God was calling His people to worship. God is not just the God of the Israelites, He's the God of the whole world. And then even as God was sending the people to take over the city, He was giving them a chance. Giving them a chance to worship Him. One step at a time, one day at a time is how we did camp. Nick didn't start out on Monday morning saying, play volleyball, or play soccer, or play basketball. He started out by teaching them how to dribble, teaching them how to hit the ball, teaching them how to pass the ball, one thing at a time.